I'm Agustini Pujayanti. I'm a student of I Gusti Bagus Sugriwa Denpasar, State Hindu University, major in English Language Education Department, in class A1 Denpasar in the 3rd semester. So, in this video, I will give some material about conditionals and subjunctives. So, let's start the lesson. We are going to talk conditionals sentence from the definition, function, and type. Definition of conditional sentence. In simple terms, a conditional sentence is a compound sentence that contains conditions regarding a presupposition, imagination, or an event that has not yet occurred. This conditional sentence begins with if as a sign that the condition has not yet occurred. The form of a conditional sentence is if clause plus main clause, or main clause and if clause. If you notice, the if clause is a part of the conditional sentence, while the main clause usually contains the consequence or consequences of the previous conditional's presupposition. The main clause can be placed in front or behind the if clause. This difference in location doesn't affect the meaning. For the example, if she wins, she will treat us. In this sentence, if she wins as if clause, and she will treat us as main clause. I will buy an ice cream if mother gives me money. In this sentence, the main clause placed in front of the sentence and followed by if clause. Next, functions of conditional sentence. The first to assume something will happen in the future. Second, to rely on something that is not possible now. And the last, to suppose something that has happened in the past. Types of conditional sentence. There are 4 types of conditional sentence. First, conditional sentence type 0. This type is usually referred to as zero conditional sentence. This type of sentence is used when the result or consequence of a condition is realized or describes a general truth and scientific fact. This sentence is usually in the form of present tense with the formula if plus simple present. For example, if we burn pepper, it becomes as. I feel sick if I eat too much. If you don't brush your teeth, you get cavities. Second, conditional sentence type 1. The conditional sentence type 1 is a form of conditional sentence that is used when the result or consequence has the possibility to occur in the future. This can happen because there are still realistic conditions that make sense for the possibility to occur. Therefore, conditional sentence type 1 has the form of a simple future sentence. The formula for this sentence is if plus simple present, simple future, will, or imperative, and the examples are if I meet him, I will introduce myself. I will cook dinner tonight if you clean the house. If you rest, you will feel better. Next, conditional sentence type 2. Conditional sentence type 2 is a type of conditional sentence that is used when the result or consequence has only the hope of being realized, even though the probability is very small. So it can be said that conditional sentence type 2 is not necessarily the case but can also be true. In this sentence, the formula used is if plus simple past or where, would, could, might, and were infinitive. The use of would, could, and might serves to explain how much a condition will occur. For examples, if I had money, I would buy a new car. If I owned a zoo, I might let people interact with the animals more. If I were you, I will continue my study. The last conditional sentence type 3. Conditional sentence type 3 is a conditional sentence when a condition is not possible at all. This can be described as a very impossible condition or just a dream or imagination. In this conditional sentence type 3, the form of the sentence uses the past perfect, which is equipped with auxiliary modals such as would, could, and should. The formula used is if plus past perfect, would, should, and could, or might, plus have plus past participle. For examples, if you had remembered to invite me, I would have attended your party. If you had told me you needed a ride, I would have left earlier. If I had cleaned the house, I could have gone to the movies. Next material is subjunctives. We are going to talk about the definition, the function, and the type. Definition of subjunctives. The subjunctives is a verb that functions to imagine the consequences of things that didn't happen or didn't exist. The subjunctive can be in the form of wish, needs, requirements, and suggestion. In other words, the sentence has a meaning that is always contrary to facts or reality. Some words that are commonly used in subjunctive sentence are the words wish, which means to want or expect. Other words are as though or as if only, and would rather. In the subjunctive, there is no addition of s. In the third person single pronoun, he, she, and it. All forms of the verb be remain be in the present tense and change to were in all forms in the past tense. For example, I wish he knew about my feeling. Puja swims as if she were an athlete. Next, the function of subjunctives. The functions of the subjunctives are 1. Expressing requirements or needs. 2nd, expressing suggestions. And 3rd, expressing urgency or importance. And the last state, a different state with a presupposition. And next, types of subjunctives. Subjunctive with is used in a sentence that indicate or express with. In this type, a presupposition can be in the context has or has not happened. Thus, a tenses formula is arranged for its presupposition, namely the past tense form, the present tense form, and the future tense form. Check out the formula below. With in past tense, the formula is subject, with, subject, had, and verb 3. For example, she wished she had gone to the beach that day. And next, with in present tenses. For the formula is subject, with, subject to, and verb to. For example, I wish you gave me some beautiful flowers. And last, with in future tense. For example, subject, with, subject to, could or would, and verb. For example, I wish she would tell me about her feelings someday. And next, as if and as though. In general, this subjunctive is most often used to express the past tense or the past subjunctive because the events described by the subjunctives as if, as though are events that have occurred or have been missed. However, the subjunctive as if or as though is also sometimes used in the present tense. For the formula, subjunctive as if in past tense. For the formula is subject, verb 2, as if, subject, had, and verb 3. For example, Eric ran as if he had seen a ghost. And next, subjunctive as if in present tenses. For the formula is subject, verb, as if, subject, verb, or word. For example, Claudia swam as if she were an athlete. Next, subjunctive would rather. The subjunctive would rather is usually used when someone wants someone else to do something. Just like as if, the subjunctive is also only used in past and present tense sentences. Subjunctive would rather in past tenses. For the formula is subject, would rather, subject, had, and verb 3. For example, in sentences, I would rather you had forgotten the sad past. And the next, subjunctive would rather in present tenses. For the formula is subject, would rather, subject, and verb. For example, Ramon would rather she didn't meet her ex. And the last, subjunctive if only. The subjunctive if only is used in the past tense, explain that something didn't happen at that time. The subjunctive is usually used in the past tense and present tense. Subjunctive if only in past tense, the formula is if only, subject, had, and verb 3. For example, if only he had not gone that night. Subjunctive if only in present tense. For the formula is if only, subject, and verb 2. For the example, if only Gerald knew how much I love him. So that's all for the material today. As usual, to practice your understanding of this material, I provide 10 questions that you can access and answer on this Google Form link. So that's all the lesson today. Thank you for watching. See you next video.